Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for February 2024. Okay, so February, let's unpack. The modern day calendar would tell us that this is the second month. And if that were true, then we're in a place of stabilizing. We're in a place of reaching common ground. We're in a place where we are now figuring out where it is that we want to go from here, what it is that we want to build upon. But realistically, we're entering into February still very much under Aquarius season, the 11th month in the astrological calendar. Of course, we will be shifting into the 12th month when we enter into Pisces season. But of course, the first half of February still on the vibration of 11. 11 is a master number, a creator number, a divine number that helps us kind of script the vision, the path, the plan, the dream, the goals that we are currently moving towards. Aquarius season is a time of observation, a time of really kind of seeing things from a different set of eyes because we're reaching new levels of awareness, of consciousness. We're taking a good look at our lives. We're examining where it is that we could do better, what it is that we could improve upon, what it is that we need to break away from, and therefore Aquarius energy is all about that breakthrough. Whichever way you look at it, especially once we move into that Pisces energy and we shift into the 12th month of the zodiac wheel, we are definitely taking a good look at changing our minds, getting grounded and logical and practical in this present moment, realizing where there's been a change of heart, change of perspective. And due to that, where it is now that we kind of have to unpack, let go, release a lot of the heaviness, a lot of the weight, a lot of the emotion, the pain, the trauma that we are not willing to take with us in this next journey. Keeping in mind that once we move into Pisces season, the last sign of the zodiac wheel before we enter into the new astrological calendar, when we have the spring equinox, when Aries season begins mid-March, we are in the finale of what has been the last astrological calendar year. This is a time when we have to sort out, process what is going to stay, what is going to go, what needs to die, what needs to grow. This is a time of planning and strategizing, again, kind of weeding out the old in order to really pour our time and energy and attention into building the new. So we have a lot going on. And a lot of it comes down to listening to our heart space, really kind of taking our intellect and our brain with us. But at this point in time, we have to feel things. We have to feel the excitement, the anticipation of the new things that we're anxiously awaiting to kind of dive into. We also have to feel the not so nice things in order to heal it. You have to feel it in order to heal it. Now, February is normally a very kind of slow, blah month. This month, or this year, I should say, we have 29 days in February. We got to thank those evildoers for really manipulating that calendar for us and really messing with the natural calendar of our Earth plane. But nonetheless, we get an extra day here in February. Now, whether that is a good thing or a bad thing, that still remains to be seen. It's just a day that gets thrown at us every 4 years in order to basically equalize and even out the calendar that they messed with. We have a lot going on in February. It's going to feel very heavy and weighted, though. A lot of that is because we are in the final chapters of the zodiac wheel. So with that being said, I think it's an interesting dynamic to consider that the very first day of February is a day where the moon is going to be kind of moving out of Libran energy and into Scorpio energy. And that is not a favorable thing for most people to really be thinking about, because most people absolutely hate the Scorpio energy. Why is that, you may ask? Well, it is because we do a lot of shadow work. That is where death, endings, and closures need to take place in our soul, in our spirit, in our emotions, in order for there to be a major metamorphosis, major change, major transformation in our soul, in our spirit, because that's where it has to take place first before we see the changes take place in our physical realm. So having the moon kind of make its way into Scorpio energy on the very first day of February is very telling that this is going to be a very heavy weighted, but hugely transformative emotional month. Okay, so we have some work to do. Let's unpack what February has in store. So we're coming in to the month, and on the 2nd, we are going to be having our last quarter moon in Scorpio energy. And so, yeah, it's a tough energy to be in because emotionally speaking, we're reflecting back on the month that we just had, realizing that we are leaving the month that we just had as totally different versions of ourselves that we entered into 2024 as. And again, a lot of change of heart, change of perspective, and therefore change of plans. And this is a time where we are bringing everything full circle. We're really piecing together the pros, the cons, everything in between. We're realizing what we have to let go of. We're realizing what we kind of have to pour more time, energy into. And this is an emotional and spiritual change and transformation within ourselves. So obviously, it's going to be very heavy. It's going to be very weighted. Now, on the 5th, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, moving into Aquarius energy. So again, we still are in Aquarius season. Uranus is in his rulership, and in Aquarius energy, shit gets weird. Now, what I love about Mercury moving into Aquarius energy is that Aquarius energy rules over the highest form of our intellect, connects us with the highest dimensions of intelligence. This is where we have aha moments, where we have epiphanies, where we receive downloads that may not make sense right away. But the fact that Mercury, who rules over the lower level of our intellect, our egoic intellect, where we take information and we start kind of planning, discerning, sorting through, adding logic and practicality to it, this is where things start to make sense. So to have Mercury in Aquarius energy, first of all, we're thinking very futuristically focused. Aquarius energy, again, visionary. What can we be doing better? How can we improve? How can we be more efficient? How can we kind of break away from what's holding us back and really kind of rebel against the constructs that are preventing us from evolving? So there's going to be a lot of that, but even more than that, there's going to be a lot of understanding within ourselves. We're going to be able to start kind of making sense of a lot of the downloads, the visions, the dreams, the aha moments, the epiphanies that haven't been making sense to us. And because we're kind of in a collaborative type of mood here, Aquarius energy is again about like-minded people, groups, communities of like-minded individuals with like-minded goals, we're definitely going to have some very intense conversations on what needs to happen. And on the collective stage, this is going to be about, the societal structures that essentially we've been collapsing over the last, let's say, 15 years with Pluto moving through that Capricorn energy. He's now in Aquarius energy. So this is like, how can we rebuild society to return the power back to the people, to break out of this industrialized, capitalistic mind frame of just, taking from people and not caring about their wants, needs, and desires. The Aquarius energy wants the collective to be empowered, to be sovereign, to be happy. So where Mercury kind of rules over our thoughts in this Aquarius energy, there's definitely going to be some profound aha moments and epiphanies that are totally going to change the game for us in our individual lives. But on the greater, grander stage, we can definitely expect some new details, some new information that will definitely come out, have a huge impact on the collective, a huge impact on what it is that we now have to build out of the collapsing structures, the debris, the falsehood, the lies, the deception that now is coming into truth because of this Aquarius energy, because of the age that we're in. We're definitely, kind of building in this time of disclosure. So that is going to be a pivotal day where our brains are going to just be operating on super speed. You want to talk about being a superhuman computer? Mercury in Aquarius is just that. This brings us to February 9th. We're going to have the new moon taking place in Aquarius energy. So, of course, a new moon is the dark phase of the moon. There's no illumination in the night sky. We have to sit in the darkness, sit in the funk. We have to realize what it is that's holding us back, what it is that's causing the breakdown, what it is that is really restricting us from reaching new levels of awareness, new levels of consciousness, new levels of our physical realm, physical reality. And so the new moon, being the dark phase of the moon, of course, has us in a funk, really showing us what needs to give. This is the breakdown versus breakthrough point. Granted, a new moon is a time to kind of set new intentions, but more times than not, those new moon intentions come from realizing what it is that we're done with, what it is we've outgrown, what it is that we no longer want to experience. You best believe that Aquarius energy is visionary. So we're going to have a huge amount of downloads, especially with Mercury being in Aquarius now, this new moon moving into Aquarius. Things are going to be popping. Again, Aquarius energy, shit gets weird, and things are just going to come out of the woodwork that's going to have a major impact, major influence on the path, the plan, the strategy that we are currently building upon. So that new moon in Aquarius is definitely going to be freeing and liberating, but it's also going to prove to be a little bit of a challenge because we have to kind of sit in the funk in order to realize where it is that we have to build ourselves up to fight our way out of it. On the 13th, we have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, moving into Aquarius energy. So, of course, Mars has been in that Capricorn energy, low, slow progress. We really had to be deliberate with our energy, with our actions. We may not even have made very many moves or taken very many actions, but that is because the Capricorn energy is in it for the long term, the long haul. Now, let's just kind of say this. If in the Capricorn energy, we were low and slow in our path and our planning and our visualizing and our strategy and the actions in which we were taking, the Aquarius energy is going to hit the fast forward button. We're in an accelerated time period when we're in Aquarius energy because it is futuristically focused. And so Mars in this Aquarius energy, first of all, where our physical energy is concerned, is going to come in random bursts. You may be on top of the world 1 minute and then needing to lay down for a little nap the next. What this is also going to do is bring us moments of brilliance, genius moments, if you will, where we take action upon some of the aha moments, the epiphanies that are popping off in our higher mind. This is also going to put us in a situation where the actions that we take may be of a new method. Maybe we're trying something new. Maybe we're kind of thinking outside the box and therefore taking actions to do things a little bit differently in order to get a different result, because we've realized that if we continue to do the same old, we're only going to get what it is that we've already got. And where frustration is concerned, there is this element where we have some insight, we have some downloads, we have some epiphanies, but yet we can't do anything about them right now. We don't know the action to take in order to bring them to life because, again, we need to formulate a path, a plan, a strategy before we can take action and make moves. So that's where the frustration comes, is because we do have these downloads, these moments of brilliance, and then we're like, okay, so what do I do with it? How do I make it happen? How do I bring this to life? And it puts us in a little bit of an agitated, frustrated, maybe even angered state of being. Now, here's an interesting day. The 16th, the first quarter moon taking place in Taurus energy. Well, that doesn't sound so spectacular. First quarter moon happens every lunar cycle. It's a time of decision, a time of choice points, a time of action, especially building upon some of the realizations, the intentions that came into our awareness under the new moon in Aquarius. So that's not a big deal. It is going to be a big deal in the sense that we're actually going to see the choice points, the decision points, the action points be materialized in physical form. This is Taurus energy, so it is a physical awareness of the actions, the decisions, the choices that we are making, that we are building towards. But here's the interesting part. On the 16th, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who rules over that Taurus energy that we're having our first quarter moon in, Venus will be moving into Aquarius energy. Okay, so we have Mars in Aquarius energy. Now we have Venus in Aquarius energy. We're going to talk about this in just a second, the connection that I'm trying to make here. But first, let's just talk about Venus in Aquarius. So Venus has been in that Capricorn energy. She was taking a very low, grounded, slow approach, a business-minded approach to her heart space, to her affections, to her values. She really realized where it is that maybe she was caught up in the ooey gooiness of creating delusions around her happiness, her joy, her safety, her security for survival mode. And in Capricorn energy, she was thinking, can I sustain this particular path, this direction long term? Capricorn energy, long term. The Capricorn energy is the manifesting energy. So Venus being in that Capricorn energy, we realize where it is that we can't continue doing what it is that we've been doing for the long term. Our perspectives change, our heart space has changed, and now moving into the Aquarius energy, we're going to problem solve some of the issues, some of the challenges, some of the blockages and obstacles that we would have identified while Venus was in the Capricorn energy. In Aquarius energy, we're looking for mental stimulation. This is a visionary energy, so we are still thinking very futuristically ahead on what it is that would make us happy, who would make us happy, who and what would really add and support us in building a new realm and reality that is full of happiness, joy, safety, security, and stability. This is a time to kind of be a little bit more independent, to kind of seek a little bit more freedom, even if you are in a relationship. This is kind of us kind of realizing where it is that we are very unique. We are an individual. Where it is that maybe we have to separate ourselves, create a little bit more distance in our energetic relationship dynamics in order for us to really stand on our own 2 feet and get to know who it is that we are. And of course, what it is that our higher selves, our heart space wants us to pursue on our own individual path. Okay, so there's that. We're going to back burner that for just a second because there's one more thing that I have to talk about before we're going to do a deep dive into what I'm going to call the most important aspect taking place in February. So let's just hold on for 2 seconds. On the 18th of February, the sun is going to be leaving Aquarius season for Pisces season. Pisces season is the last sign of the zodiac. It is a mutable water sign, which means that the mutable energy is changing. We've been faced with information, data, statistics, evidence, proof that a change needs to be made. Now, the Pisces energy, being a water sign, is very cleansing, very healing, very transformative, very renewing, very rejuvenating, especially where our spiritual realm is concerned, where our soul and our spirit is concerned, where our soul contracts, our intuition, our dreams, our creativity is concerned. The Pisces energy is the sign of undoing. So just as we sit back and reflect upon the year that we just had and even the month that we just had, we are processing what needs to stay, what needs to go. We are listening to our intuition. We're listening to, I'm going to say, the higher realms of intelligence. We're listening to our soul self. There is a major spiritual upgrade that takes place in Pisces season. So that's nothing new. We do that every year. Let's talk about the 22nd. This is the major day. And side note, if you want to go ahead, visit my website, download the 2024 astrological calendar. Everything that I'm rattling off is in that calendar. So you can take a good look at it and kind of map out and understand when the energy is going to get intense, when to kind of plan for certain situations in your life, in the month, in the year, based off of the energy shifts that will be taking place. Anyways, I digress. On the 22nd, first of all, February, let's call it the second month, okay? So the second month, 22nd day of the second month. Well, what does that sound like? Sounds like numerology to me. 222. Okay, so 222, that is a coding sequence. That is a very important indicator that something major is going to happen around this particular time frame. And if you kind of, have listened to me for a long time, you would know that we got an indicator back around the full moon in Leo that 222 was a coding sequence that we had to pay attention to. We knew that due to the elemental energy profile of the full moon in Leo. If you want to go back and listen to that, be my guest. Okay, so on the 22nd, what am I getting at here? We have Mars, the divine masculine energy, ruling over our physical energy, our passions, our desires, even our anger. We have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, the feminine divine energy in Aquarius energy. These two are the lovers of the cosmos. They chase each other throughout the cosmos. Very rarely do they come in contact with each other. When they do have a conjunction and they come together in the cosmos, that is considered the lover's kiss. The lover's kiss balances out the feminine and divine energies that we all have in our individual bodies and, of course, play out in a projected form in our personal relationship dynamics. This conjunction is taking place in Aquarius energy. Like, this is profound. Aquarius energy is about improvements and progression. It's about rebelling and revolting against the old constructs. It's about freedom. It's about independence. It's about the visionary vision, dream, goal that we are currently conjuring up on what it is that we want to bring to life, what it is that we want to kind of build in our life. We have Mars, that spark, that fire, that flame, that action energy that is kind of intertwining with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who's had a change of heart, who now wants to break away from the blockages, from the challenges, from the obstacles that she is now facing, in realizing that she needs to kind of move away from what it is that she's built, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned, in order to be free, in order to be more independent, in order for her to pursue her own path, where her soul's mission, her soul's potential is asking her to pursue something different. This is going to be life-changing. This is an awareness. This is an awakening. This is the masculine and feminine energies that need to be in balance, coming into balance for a very, very brief moment. It's taking place under the influence of Pisces season, soul contracts, karmic contracts, familial and generational trauma and healing. This is a huge change, a huge transformation, not only in the collective consciousness, not only in the masculine and feminine energies of the collective consciousness, but in our personal relationship dynamics as well. This is the date you're going to want to look for in February. There's going to be major tension building up to that particular, let's call it, activation point. And then we're going to see a lot of really wild situations really pop off on the greater global stage and in our own individual lives, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned. The day after this lovely event, on the 23rd, we have Mercury on the move again, this time moving into Pisces energy. So things are going to become even more intense because Mercury, who rules over the mental plane, is now doing a deep dive in the emotional, intuitive, and spiritual waters of Pisces energy. So first of all, this is where our heart and our head kind of get in alignment because we're blending our intellect with our intuition. And of course, when we operate from that particular standing point, it's a total game changer. Secondly, this is a creative life force energy that is great for writers and musicians and artists and poets and anything to do with the creative arts, and especially feeding off of Mars and Venus just conjuncting, which is a reset of the life force, creative force energies that we all operate from. Mercury in Pisces energy is going to be on steroids. Of course, we have Mercury moving in Pisces pretty much every year, so that's nothing new. It's always an intense time. It's always very profound as we blend our intellect with our intuition. It's always a very sensitive time because, of course, Pisces energy, very healing, very transformative, very karmically speaking. So there's a lot of conversations that need to be had on this, I'm going to say, emotional level in order to resolve, again, kind of clean up, bring an ending, a closure to some of the situations and circumstances in our lives that need to be resolved before we enter into a brand new calendar year, which of course is going to pop off in March when Aries season begins, when the spring equinox begins, and when we get to dive into a brand new karmic chapter. So Mercury in this Pisces energy is going to be very intuitive, very imaginative, very creative, very sentimental, very nostalgic, very heartfelt. It is going to be very heavy. It can take a dark turn. It can be very heavy and weighted and dark and depressive. We do have to kind of move into the unconscious realm, Pisces energy, in order to bring new insights to our awareness. Mercury, process, logic, and practically some of these epiphanies, some of these profound insights that we are currently unpacking under the influence of this water energy that Pisces rules over. The day after that, the 24th, we are going to have a full moon taking place in Virgo energy. Okay, so if you haven't noticed already, let's say from the 18th to the 26th, 27th of February, going to be majorly intense. Of course, we shift into that Pisces energy on the 18th. The 22nd is the major event. 23rd, Mercury's into Pisces energy. 24th, full moon in Virgo. Okay, so a full moon is a full illumination of information, details that were previously hidden away from our awareness. Now coming into our awareness, we have a bigger, broader picture for us to actually review, for us to actually kind of push the boundaries of our understandings of. And in the Virgo energy, again, Pisces and Virgo energy sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. They represent the axis of healing. Pisces energy heals the emotional realm, the spiritual realm. Virgo energy heals the physical body and the mental plane. And so there's a full illumination on where it is that we have to bridge the gap between reality and fantasy or imagination, whichever way you want to look at it. That is Virgo energy here, matter of fact, physical realm, physical, body, versus Pisces energy, very, ethereal, very mystical, very imaginative, very creative, very soul, very spiritual, that type of vibe. We have to balance these energies because if you're too literal, you're missing out on the actual world that we're living in. If you are just someone that sticks to this 3D materialistic realm and are so rational and so literal, very weighted in this Virgo energy, you literally think that this world is it for you. We have to open the door to the spiritual realm. That's that Pisces energy, because the Pisces energy, the energetic realm, the spiritual realm, is the actual realm in which we all live in. So there needs to be a balancing point. Just as you can't go balls to the walls in the Pisces energy and live in La La Land and live in the spiritual realm and live in the energetic realm, because you're missing out on the physical human experience that your soul self signed up to actually have. And again, that would be weighted in the Virgo energy. So the full moon in Virgo showing us where it is that we need to balance, again, reality with fantasy, or the spiritual realm with the mundane realm, if you want to look at it that way. B, we have to take a good look at where it is that we have to examine some of the habits and behaviors that we really need to kick to the curb and get rid of in order for us to kind of rearrange, reorganize how it is that we're moving throughout our day-to-day life, especially with the narrative that we have in our mental plane, with the belief system that we tell ourselves. We have to kind of reorganize and redesign how it is that we're moving throughout our day, because of course we just had a major change in perspective, a change of heart. We have new energies that we're working with, and a lot of the reasons of why many of us don't see the progress that we want to see is because we don't change anything in our day-to-day lives. It requires the smaller details of our daily habits to change in order for us to change the outcome of the vision, of the dream, the goal that we're working towards. And C, this is about us realizing the power of our mind. Virgo energy, mind over matter. Virgo energy is a mutable earth sign that is ruled over by Mercury, ruler of the mental plane. So it becomes very apparent what we focus on, the narrative that we tell ourselves, does get manifested in our physical realm. And this is why we have to be super careful with what it is that we're focused on, what it is that we tell ourselves. Yes, the Virgo energy likes to focus in on the smaller details of our lives, of our thoughts, of our habits, of our patterns, of our behaviors, because we're sorting out what needs to stay and what needs to go before we enter into a brand new astrological calendar. And so, that full moon in Virgo is just going to illuminate where it is that we have to get a little bit more grounded, a little bit more logical and practical, open the door to listening to our intuition, blending that with our intellect, and understanding where it is that we need to reorganize, revamp, renovate the way that we're thinking, the way that we're speaking to ourselves, what it is that we focus on, the patterns, the habits, the behaviors that are either A, supporting us in getting to where it is that we desire to be, or B, really blocking us for making any kind of change. Because again, the change has to happen within us before we're going to see that change happen outside of us. So that full moon in Virgo is the last astro event of February. We're going to sit in that funky energy, taking us all the way into March. So of course, this was just a general overview. I am going to recommend that you listen to your February zodiac forecast for a more in-depth and detailed perspective and review on where these particular energy shifts are going to be taking place in your physical realm, in your life. And like I said, there's a lot of resources out there, the e-guides, the zodiac forecast, the moon guides, in order to help you keep aligned with this particular energy and to stay on top of it. So if you're ready, let's do a deep dive on what February has to offer.